So, everybody these days wants to know how to reduce the stress levels inside of your body, and that is what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to share with you what I know works for me, and maybe this will help you too. So, we're going to go over a few things. Firstly, some concepts, then some strategies, then some practices. So the concept of stress. Our response to stress serves a purpose. I mean, it's letting us know, hey, chill, sleep, eat, calm down, break up with that person, whatever it is. Stress can be an indicator that we need to pay attention to something. So it serves a very good purpose. When it becomes a problem is when it gets all haywire and out of whack. And that can lead to stress levels in the body. That can lead to health issues. And obviously just being out of whack. If you've listened to any of the other videos that I've done on this channel, you'll hear me talking about the flow of energy through the 7 different parts of a person or an organization. And so energy flow and harnessing that for what you're up to in the world is what it's all about. And if you have stress anywhere inside of you, that energy is going to be redirected into all of those things. Trust me, I know a lot about this. I suffered panic attacks since I was 8 years old. And that was way back in the 80s. And nobody knew what was happening to me. I would just suddenly, out of nowhere, panic. There wasn't anything happening. I couldn't tie it to anything that was going on. I just would find myself in a state of super high anxiety. Being 8 years old and being that it was the 80s, nobody really knew what it was. They didn't know that it was just panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I feel like I hear about that every day now. But at the time, nobody knew. And so I had to develop my own practices. I had to do my own research to figure out what was going to work for me when that happened. Since then, becoming an adult, I've found some other ways of coping and self-soothing in those moments. And I'd like to share some of them with you. So another concept is consider all of you. Stress is happening to your body, to your mind, and to your spirit. It can probably come in through one of those things and affect all the rest, or the other way around. So having a whole person to consider is key when developing strategy and practices to deal with stress and the effects that it's having in your body. So first, let's talk about the stress coming from your mind. Do you know what's causing it? Do you know where it's coming from? What's the source of it? And if you're not sure, keep asking yourself that question or have a conversation with someone. If you do know where it's coming from, is this something that you can change? Is this something that you cannot change? If you can change it, you might want to consider taking some action or having a conversation or whatever it is that needs to happen in order to take care of this thing that's causing you stress. If you can't change it, then there's some practices around acceptance. I know that may sound a little flippant, that there's a lot of really tough things that we go through in life that we cannot control. And we are in control of how we react to that and how we navigate that. And certainly by lessening the effect and the impact of stress on our bodies is going to help us deal with whatever that situation is. Second, your body. So your body is really a huge indicator of what's going on. You can pretty much locate the stress in your body. If you sit there and think about it right now, if something's bothering you and hurting you, where is it? I know that when I get super stressed, I start to do this, like the hunchback, and I'm like, I get really tight and curl up in a little ball. It's like, ugh. So when I find myself doing that, I start to open up, I stand up, take a deep breath, I put my chest out and my arms like this, and just doing that feels so good. It's such a nice, good stretch and a big breath, and just doing that automatically made me feel like I'm not filming videos for YouTube and stressing about it. Not only does it feel good, so I know that works, but there's been plenty of studies showing that taking deep breaths does slow down the part of you that is in response in either a flight, fight pattern. And so a lot of what stress is it's that feeling of like, I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to, no. And so taking breaths stops that automatic reaction that your brain is contributing to. So what I would recommend is taking 5 breaths and holding it at the top. I have an Apple Watch that reminds me to breathe. I don't know if any of you have one, but there's this really cool thing where every hour or so it says breathe, and it kind of pulses like this. I'm sure you could find something online to do that along with. Or just take 5 deep breaths, just as simple as in for 5, holding it at the top, and then letting it out for 5. Just 5 of those kinds of breaths has proven to slow your heart rate, give yourself a chance to recover. When you're taking in that air, it slows your heart down, and so that response starts to slow. The other thing for your body I would recommend is connecting to all 5 of your senses. So by doing that, we're going to talk about getting really hyper-focused on your body. One of the great things about being human is that we have these incredible 5 senses, and we can enjoy them. So what I like to do is light things that smell good, use oils that also smell good and that have components to them that are calming scents. I also have something that creates a frequency that restores balance, and I'll show that to you in a moment. But just this week, I felt like stressed and overwhelmed about something when I woke up in the morning, and right away I just stepped outside and in bare feet. I live in Florida, so I can do that all year round, thankfully. And I just sat there in the grass and felt the blades and of the grass and the thick Florida green grass, and just heard the birds and felt the sun, and really just connected to what it feels like to have a body and be in a body, and what the smells were and the sights and the sounds. And I didn't have to do anything for that. I just walked outside. If you do want to conjure some senses, or you want to get out in front of something that you feel could be causing stress, like let's say you have a big meeting tomorrow, or you have to have a difficult conversation, then you can do some things to sort of, I guess, deposit some calm in your bank before going into it. What I love to use is sage and Palo Santo. My partner in crime, my business partner, Brittany, she calls this cloro and fabuloso, which in South Florida, that means Clorox. So you clean the air with this. And fabuloso is an amazingly, the smell of fabuloso is like, if anybody from Miami is listening to this, you know what it is. It's just intoxicating. I don't know if they sell it other places, but it's just sort of an inside joke that this cleans the air and this makes it smell really good. So what I'll do is I'll go around and just light this, or not, and burn it a little bit, walk around and just kind of fill the air with that scent. And this is something that people have been doing for centuries. It's not, new. It doesn't just happen in yoga studios. This is something that is actually a very sacred process. I spent some time living in Athens in Greece, and I would go to the churches there and the Orthodox services. Of course, I had no idea what they were saying, but just being in that environment was so sensual. It was so spiritual. It was all the things. There were chimes and chanting and singing and just sights to see everywhere, and incense. And they put these amazing resins of frankincense and myrrh and copal, and they're flinging them around. If you haven't ever been, find the closest Greek Orthodox church near you. It's amazing. But also, other cultures and religions have been using smoke to fill the air for many generations. So there's something to it. So indulge. I also mention a sound. So I love listening to music that has like the frequencies of, they call them miracle frequencies. You can do a simple search on YouTube or Spotify or whatever and find different frequencies that tap into your brain, okay? And science has proven through different things like binaural beats and certain kinds of frequencies that it can actually change just those, sound waves can actually come in and affect your brain waves. We do have a body. We do respond to sound. It's not that far-fetched. So I really indulge in this, and this is one of my new favorites. This is called the Love Tuner, and this is at the frequency of what is most associated with love. And so you just pop this little thing out and you blow into it. I already feel more kumbaya, do you? So that's at the hertz of 528. So this is a nifty little thing that you can carry around with you anytime. Or just some earbuds in your phone and get something off of Spotify. I also do daily meditations, and that can just be something of as much as sitting in the grass like I did the other day. Just sitting in the grass and contemplating the grass and contemplating all the things that I was feeling and seeing and smelling and hearing. So it doesn't have to be something intense. It doesn't have to be something that you're conjuring in your mind. If you're stressed out, that's not going to feel good. So just sitting there. So I've talked a little bit about being hyper-focused sort of inward and on your senses. But another thing that can really help if you're experiencing stress, any kind, either high anxiety or just common stress, is to get outside of yourself. Okay, so to focus outside. And a good way to do this is to have a conversation. I mean, even with a stranger. It may seem simple, but I would highly recommend you don't do this sort of distracting practice with consuming content. There's just something in between two people having a conversation or calling a friend on the phone that really does get you outside of your head. And in that, everything starts to just slow down. You begin to think about the other person. You begin to think about what's going on over there for them. This is the spirit component of a good stress practice. It's getting out of your body and focusing on someone else. And then lastly, the practice of having a good routine. Not necessarily a schedule. Anybody who knows me can tell you I am not a scheduled person, but being in a routine, especially if you're going through a transition period, can be really helpful. So making sure that you're maybe drinking a glass of water at certain times a day or having lunch at the same time every day, just something to anchor your day around that, so that when everything feels chaotic and like, where's your stability coming from, you can give that to yourself by anchoring yourself into a flow of a routine. So to wrap it all up, I guess my philosophy to stress is what I like to call little luxuries. So I pamper myself throughout the day with little luxuries, like beautiful smelling things or scents that I wear on my body that remind me to take a breath. Little fun things like this that just give me a sense of joy throughout the day. I also give myself little luxuries by having mugs around that I feel can represent how I'm feeling on a given day, or how I want to be feeling on a given day. So I have a really great one I wish I could show you right now. It says "Yes, Queen" on it with Cleopatra, and I love that. So the days that I'm feeling fierce or wanting to feel fierce, I drink my coffee out of that, and that just feels like a little luxury. Just being present to taking in that coffee and setting that intention for the day, not just running around and grabbing a thing out of the dishwasher or cupboard and slamming the coffee to get going. Can you see the difference between those two experiences? And also putting caffeine in your body, which can also lead to some stress and high activity and high energy. So I hope that helps you in your journey with reducing the stress levels in your body. If you have any additional things to offer, please put them in the comments below. If you're the kind of person with a fire in your belly and you know that there's a better way to do things, then you're gonna love this. I have a fun and free diagnostic tool for you to use to see if you're calibrated to your highest flow of energy. If you've watched any of my other videos on this channel, you'll know that I talk a lot about energy centers for people and organizations and how they're either harnessing their flow or experiencing leaks. It's an easy tool that you'll get a lot of benefit from, and you can use it over and over again. Head to the link below to download it and get calibrating. It's been so fun being on Michelle's channel. She is the epitome of a great coach and mentor, so this has been a privilege. I hope to see you in my next video.